Hello everyone, it is Emily here, and today I thought that perhaps I would bring you a little bit of an encouraging kind of a video. Sorry guys, I gotta switch this music down a little bit more. It's a little much otherwise, I think. So I'm sorry if I look a bit a mess. You know, things have been a little tough around here, as you might imagine, with the loss of my dog and everything that's been changing. However, that being said, I wanted to come and offer 5 suggestions on things that you should consider when you are grieving or mourning someone or a pet. So the first suggestion I can make is don't feel bad for feeling bad. You are gonna feel sad and you're gonna miss that pet or that person, and you're gonna start thinking of all sorts of things, and you're going to probably feel guilty for feeling so upset, because it's going to feel like maybe you're letting down your friends, or like you don't want to drag down the energy of your friends perhaps. But don't feel bad for feeling down or feeling low, because how else are you expected to feel? You know? So, sorry, I'm just looking for that. I think I'm gonna pause that just briefly. It's a little bit, doesn't quite fit the mood, so I'm just gonna pause that for now. So don't feel guilty for, don't feel guilty for feeling down and feeling bad and feeling sad, because that's normal. And every single person has their individual grief process that they should go through. And like I said, it's individual for every person, and that's really true. And so what might have worked for you to get through your grieving process won't work for your friend or your sister or your cousin. So from the other side of that too, is I would say, if you're trying to support someone, just understand that they're going to need to do whatever strange things they might need to do. It's very unique to them, and that's fine. You know, assuming that doesn't harm anyone, it's fine. So first suggestion is don't feel bad for feeling down and feeling low. It's normal, it's natural. You'd expect to feel like that. The second thing is, and I want to really emphasize this, take your time. As in, yeah, we hear it all the time. Take your time, take your time. But I want to emphasize the take your time part. When this first happened, I told myself I would take some time. And then on one of those days that I had allotted for myself to grieve, I realized that I needed to take more time. I realized that not only that, but that I needed to take whatever time it was going to take, and that can't be dictated by work or any outside people. It has to just be according to how I feel. So the second suggestion I have for you is take your time. Take your time. And really do, because pets are family members, and so losing them, and again, you could have also lost someone, in which case you obviously know that this is, tricky. So take the time that you need to, and understand and that people take whatever time they need, and that's completely variable, is all I really was trying to say there. The third thing I want to say is very similar to that, but is just work through your own grieving process. Now, while that might sound exactly like the one I just said, it's actually not the same thing. In the previous one, I was referring to purely in regards to time. And so in regards to that, there is no fixed time for grieving. It takes whatever time it takes. But what I'm talking about now is do whatever it is that it feels right for you to do to grieve. For instance, for me, I bought some flowers, even though, and I'm sorry, this is going to get morbid, but I want to be real about what I'm dealing with and what people may be dealing with. So let's talk real talk, So, So because I have my pup's ashes, and you know, even though I have her ashes, I wanted to buy flowers because even though, again, like, she doesn't have a grave, I don't intend to like bury her ashes or anything like that. I want to scatter them in places she loved. You know, for me, I don't know why this was, but buying a bouquet of flowers felt right. And I want to lay the flowers or scatter the flowers or something with her ashes. I don't know. The flowers just felt right. And so, you know, for you, I don't know what that would be. That could be anything. So for me, for instance, like, it was buying some flowers. As part of what you could consider my particular grieving ritual, I bought some coloring books. You know, it's kind of funny, but this grieving process has really allowed me to realize that a lot of the healing that I need to do, and a lot of the work that I have to do in general as a person, is around my inner child. And so I allowed myself to buy some coloring books and some crayons, and something that's, I know it sounds weird and it sounds childish, but it's been really helpful to let my inner child just out to color, and like color a silly kitty picture. Or like, what else have I been doing lately? Just things that are weirdly comforting, like hugging the stuffed animal. There's a good one, for instance. Hugging a stuffed animal. An adult might laugh at that, but for me, very healing right now. Allowing my children parts of myself to be comforted by, like, comforting, soft, nice things has been really soothing to my soul. So the third tip is just work through your own grieving process, meaning just find whatever ritual it is that you need to go through and allow yourself to go through your specific ritual, because all I can say about it is it really helps the healing process. Like, am I over her death by any means? Heck no. And this has really been helping, though, to process somehow. I don't even really understand the chemistry of it. So that's my third suggestion. My fourth suggestion is allow yourself a period of time where you're free of work. Now, I put work in quotations because for me, I don't really work anymore. I mean, I make money, but I don't work. I don't have a 9-to-5 job, and thank goodness, because honestly, guys, for me, that's not my style. So I would highly, 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 highly suggest taking some time. If you can, the best thing would be to take time literally off of, away from work. But if for some reason you can't do that, well, ideally, again, try that. Try to get off some time from work. But if you can't for some reason, make sure you allot yourself like rather large chunks of time, until so long as you feel that you don't need them, to just not be working. Because at least for me right now, it's very difficult to work. I mean, my career, you know, is partly here being visible. And so technically that's work, but showing up here for you guys, that was dyslexic, but is not the hard part. It's the coming up with valuable content part that I sometimes struggle with, because let's face it, I don't want to be just another face here on YouTube clogging up the airwaves with whatever. I want to give you guys value. I want to bring things to your life that'll actually make your life better or easier or whatever. So my fourth suggestion for you guys, if you're grieving a pet or a loved one or anything, would be take time away from work. Absolutely 100,000 gajillion%. If you can take some time away from work, do it. And if you can't take time away from work completely, then try to allow yourself a period of time during at least each day where you play or you relax or you aren't working, because I thoroughly believe that it's vital to the grieving and healing process. And last but not least is rather intuitive in my opinion, and that's just, well, it's intuitive but yet not common practice for some reason, and that is just be gentle with yourself. Be gentle and loving. You know, I can tell you, I understand how kind of seductively tempting in a bad way, in a not positive way, it can be to fall into these habits of like blaming yourself for certain things or feeling guilty that you didn't do this or do that. with the person or with the pet or whomever and whatever it was that has passed. You know, it's easy to blame ourselves for a whole lot of different things because we're then looking backwards. And you know what how they say hindsight is 20/20. It's the thing of it is, there's nothing we could have done probably differently than what we did, and there's no point really thinking about it because, at least for the majority of us, I think we're not so able to go back in time and change those things or whatever. Most of us can't. So but really, and possibly that the most, you know, the best piece of advice and all that I've given is be gentle and loving with yourself during this time. Because the only thing I can think of that's worse than grieving your friend, loved one, pet, whatever, is then being mean to yourself while you're trying to grieve and heal that wound. It's just unnecessary. And I think a lot of us do it. We beat up on ourselves and we feel guilty when we should really just remember that, at least my take on it is that a lot of what goes on during the grieving process is just us caretaking our own caring children parts, if you can think of it like that. At least that's very much how it feels for me. And so with that, that's really all I want to say. I just wanted to give some tips for grieving or going through grief, whether that's a pet, whether that's a loved one, whether that's whatever. You know, I understand, for one, you're not alone. And I just wanted to give some mildly helpful suggestions that I'm trying to implement in getting through my own process in case they help you. Because there's one thing I know, it's that this is quite possibly the hardest thing anyone will ever experience is death. It's tricky. And you know, the thing is, I used to think when I was younger that it was this scary looming idea. And now what's changed is that while that's still like that part of it, the fact that it could kind of happen whenever is for me the scary part. But the thing that has lost its potency and made death not so scary for me now is this idea that I've realized is very true, which is just that energy really never does die. Energy simply gets transmuted. So even though your friend, your loved one, your pet may not physically be embodied on this earth, you know what? Their energy is out there, which means that, you know what? You have the ability to connect to them in one way or another, even whether that's whatever you believe, whether that's through prayer, whether that's through meditation, whatever you believe. I really do believe that we can tune ourselves in like a radio and potentially reach those creatures again, or at least that's what comforts me these days. So please be gentle and loving to yourself if you're grieving, because you deserve to, and so does whomever or whatever pet has died. They also deserve that processing time, because they weren't just here for a day and gone. They lived a life, and that life needs to be honored. You know, my master recently said we bow down to all energies, and I fully support that statement. So with that, guys, I'm going to be off here, and I look forward very much to seeing you guys in the next set of videos. If this was of any help to you, please do share. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please do consider and implement, honestly, these suggestions if you're grieving, because listen, they may not help, but the thing is, if you implement them and they do help, then I am so happy. That's all I want from this. So do take care of yourselves. Like, comment if you like, subscribe. If anyone wants to, please, you're welcome to share below stories, you know, remembrances of your pets or loved ones, or better yet, actually, is if you want to start sharing tips, please do below. Comment and tell me, yeah, actually, I would very much like to encourage you. Please, whomever, start, anyone, just throw out, if you've gone through any kind of a grieving process and you've made it out the other side, leave your most helpful suggestion for people, and we can start just a thread of suggestions that people can try if they're grieving to help get them through it, because I know how hard it can be. So with that, I'm going to stop yammering at you guys. I love you. I hope you're all doing well. I really do. All my love and prayers to you. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.